are working on writing literary essays about characters. And you should already have a claim. And if you don't and you're stuck, this will help you. If you've already written a claim and you feel like you've already written your whole essay, this video will help you. You might revise it so it's better. And if you've been absent, which I know some of you have been absent, this will help you get started, since I'm not there today to help you get started. So we're basically just using the same exact format that we did for the third Little Pig and for our essays about Tupac or Run or DMC, whoever you chose, where we have a claim, we have 3 reasons to support our claim, and then we have evidence from the text that shows how the reasons support the claim. Okay? So what's really important that you'd be thinking about right now is that whatever claim you make about your character, you want to come up with an idea that's big enough to encompass the entire character. So it's kind of like the difference between just having a really generic stick figure with, oddly shaped arms and legs, to offering some details, to really, like this crazy hair I'm giving this character. Because characters are like real people, and they have emotions, and they have ideas, and they have motivations, and they have challenges and struggles, and you want to try and capture the whole person and not just the stick figure outline of a person. So that's something that you need to know about that. On Tuesday, I gave you 10 excerpts from the novel Bud Not Buddy that came from throughout the entire novel. So it included when Bud was told he was leaving the home and going to a foster family, when he was trying to reassuring his buddy, I won't say buddy, that might be confusing, his friend Jerry, that everything was going to be okay. When he took revenge on Todd Amos over the pencil up the nose. When he was on the run with Bugs and stopped at Hooverville. When he goes to Grand Rapids and accuses Hermione Calloway of being his dad. Okay, this is not all of them, but my point being is I want you to go back and look at those giant pieces of chart paper where I gave you this text, because I gave you a good selection of text from throughout the novel for a reason, and that's so that you could look for ideas about Bud that are consistent, okay, so throughout the novel. So for example, generally speaking, people aren't nice and caring for one tiny little segment of their lives. If someone is a caring person, they're going to be caring when they're 8 and when they're 10 and when they're 15 and when they're 30. Like, people generally don't change that much. Sometimes people can get smarter, or if they maybe are a good leader, they might develop leadership skills that become stronger, but they'll always have throughout their story personality traits that make them a good leader or a smart person or a brave person. So whatever you want to say about Bud, you need to pick something that is basically true about him throughout his entire story, from when he's still in the home all the way till he becomes a part of this family, the band family. And that's so that you really capture the whole person. The other thing that will do is enable you to write give you enough evidence from the text, enough material, so that you can actually really write a complete essay with 3 body paragraphs. So, okay, so let's say you're going to make a claim about Bud Caldwell. So you're going to say Bud Caldwell is, and you're going to give him a character trait. You should have already done this, but if you're one of those absent folks or you're stuck, well, this is really for everybody. Bud Caldwell is because A, B, and my letters are sticking, and mostly C. Okay? So a good test for whether or not your claim is sound, whether it's a good claim, is whether or not you can actually come up with 3 reasons. If you can't come up with 3 reasons for Bud Caldwell is, then that's a good sign that you don't have a very good claim. Or you need to dig harder and look at the text again. You need to go back and reread some more and find some more evidence. Because if you have that idea about them, then maybe there is evidence in the text and you just need to go and dig for it. Okay? Be an investigator, a detective. Alright, so let's say I want to say Bud is brave. Something that you should do is pick 2 or 3 things that you think Bud is. Bud is brave. Bud is smart. Bud is, what's something else that Bud is? Think of something else. One that we came up with yesterday was persistent, which means he never gives up. So then, make a list of the reasons why he's brave, okay? Well, he walks on his own to Grand Rapids, which is like 100 plus miles. That's brave. Didn't seem too worried about that. He fought back against Todd. You know, that was brave. He took revenge on Todd. He didn't have to do that. He could have just, like, hopped out the... You know, a lot of people would have just gotten out the window with the Hornets, you know, and run off into the night. But he was determined to get his bag back and to get his revenge. So that was kind of brave. Okay, so I've got a few things to say that I could probably make some paragraphs out of here. But let's explore some other options. He's smart. Well, he knows to go to the library to look at a map and calculate the distance from Flint to Grand Rapids. That was pretty smart. He didn't have any smartphones back then. You had to go and actually go to the library and check out a book and look at maps and figure out, do some math. What else is he smart about? So this is the process that you want to go through. If you have 2 or 3 ideas that you want to say Bud Caldwell is brave, or he's smart, or he's persistent, or something else you want to say about him, go through the process of listing 2 or 3 things, and then listing the reasons why you say that. Okay? Like 1, 2, 3 here. And then you know you have a good trait to use, a good idea to write about, if you can come up with at least 3 reasons. If you're coming up with more reasons, then that's a good sign that you have something good that's going to give you a good essay. It's going to make your life easier when you're trying to write the essay, because there's going to be lots of evidence for you to use to write a good paragraph. And you're going to be having your claim, and then your 3 body paragraphs, and then your concluding paragraph. So you need a lot of evidence. I encourage you very strongly to use the chart paper with the text on it, because you're going to also be looking for quotes. Use the big pieces of paper that I gave you last week that you worked on with a partner, analyzing another scene, the scene where he accuses Hermione Callaway of being his dad, and he points at him and says, "I know it's you." All of the scenes that I gave you, both last week and this week when we did the gallery walk, looking at the chart paper, are from throughout the entire novel. Okay, so I've spared you the trouble of really having to get the book out and just try to find ideas. I've given you lots of resources for ideas. So use those resources in order to write a great essay. I want you to do the best writing you can do today. Hopefully, you should have a completed first draft in Google Documents by tomorrow that we can look at. And tomorrow we'll also be looking at a good example of an argument essay so you can see a little bit more about what you're trying to do. Okay, happy writing. Be really nice to Mr. Lovett. He's super awesome. I know most of you know him. And have a great day.